Hello, hello, everybody, and happy Monday. Hey, Judy, first one in. Whoop, whoop. The happiest paper person of all. Hey, KK, ironing. Oh, gee, I'd rather be making a journal.
Better than doing anything but ironing.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a ton of fun. Judy and KK, Margie, Jello. Just got up. Eyes need to adjust. That's awesome. Hey, Linda. Good to see you. Sandy said howdy, but look who's on screen with us today. It is Miss Sandy Rath. Whoop, whoop. Excited to have her here today. She's representing all of you who have never made a journal from scratch, start to finish before. Sandy's made lots of stuff and has not had the opportunity to put a journal together. So she is here to do that with us. And so just like some of you, welcome everyone. Smash the like button and get comfy. Thank you, Margie, for remembering. We really do appreciate the likes. Excuse me. I do have something to drink. That's good.
Hello, everyone.
If you'll give a thumbs up button there for Miss Sandy and Miss Candy, let them know that you appreciate them being here. Hey, Christy. Hey, Kathy. Hi, Laura. What a Monday. Going to be a long one. Uh-oh. Hello, Mrs. Gigi. Happy Monday. Hi, Sylvia. Hey, Donna. Donna's making a journal along with us today. Yeah, nice. Sandy is a star. I agree. It's her first time doing this, and she's doing something she's never done before. How's that? So she's representing for all of you who have not done it before.
So scared. I'm scared.
You should be.
Be afraid. Be very, very afraid. No, you don't need to be afraid. Honestly, Jello, wash hands, get ready. Yeah. Okay. So what I'd like to know is who is going to make a journal along with us today? Who is going to participate? While you're putting in there that you are, so we know who to keep an eye on and make sure that you've got no need to be scared the book won't bite you. See, neither will Candy or Marianne.
Oh, I don't know about me.
I bet Candy would if she could reach you.
And M&M's, I want some of those.
Yeah, she didn't share the peanut M&Ms.
Hi, everybody. Here y'all go.
Oh,
Hi,
thank
Gigi.
you. You should have 2 pieces of chipboard that are 6x9. That is for your book covers. And you should have 1 or 2, I'm sorry, not 1, but 2 pieces of chipboard that are 2.5x9. That is for your spine and for your hidden spine, your hidden binding. You can set the second one aside for now. We're going to deal with that one later, probably not even today. On my current journal, I've been saying I have no idea what I'm doing constantly, but I'm not letting that stop me. That's it. That's it, Laura. You know, if you're doing something new every time, you have no idea what you're doing. You're just doing it and see what comes out. Hi, Gigi. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's see. I haven't seen who's doing it along with us today. Who's making along with us today? Or is everybody watching and doing later? I will tell you that if you miss some things today or you want to go back and watch it again and start and stop it, that I have already recorded a tutorial for this portion of it. And that tutorial will be up on YouTube as soon as this live is done. So 2 hours from now. And so it's shorter and it goes straight through putting the cover together so that you can pause and do and, you know, take your time if you need to, or go back and relook at something. So Laura, my journal says captivated by purpose. I love that. That's a good saying. Just watching and learning, Christy. Okay. Yep. I know you've got some things going on that you have to be ready to jump off your chair at any moment for. So, okay. So we don't even know who else. I know Donna's making along with us today. Gigi, are you making? Sylvia, are you making? KK, are you making? Judy.
She's altering last year's journal, adding today's.
Okay. Judy, are you making? KK, fussy cutting? Tables are covered with projects. Okay. I am going to encourage, if you are not making it along today, that you watch the tutorial that will be shorter afterwards and go ahead and make one. And I'd like to encourage you to use it as your idea book. Candy, can you show your idea book real quick, or one of them?
Yeah.
The one you had right there the other day? Great
Yeah.
big fatty fat one?
Yeah.
Look at Candy's idea book.
Oh, wow.
So all we need to do is make a journal and then we start filling it. So if you go back to the beginning of this year, we did.
And I used old papers I wasn't going to use. Magazine papers. I made pockets with them.
Don't use your favorite papers.
Yeah.
Don't use your favorite paper.
Ones that had rips in them or something. Yeah. Or ones that didn't print well or didn't coffee stain well.
Yep.
Yeah. I just used.
Yeah. Don't use your absolute favorite papers in it because it's just an idea book.
And
Isn't that amazing, Christy?
I put 4 signatures in it.
4. Okay.
And I shouldn't even I put the tie on here,
Uh-huh.
but I don't use it.
And
I
you're
get
like,
tired of tying it and untying it, but
Yeah.
I just did it.
Yeah.
I glued it onto the
Yeah,
inside
you can
cover.
cut it off if you want.
Yeah. I mean,
Whatever.
probably
Yeah.
gets too bulky.
Let
I
it go.
can tie it.
Yeah. So the idea is that every time we make something, you make one that you put into your idea book and then one that you're going to use, or if it's a mass make, you make multiples. But if you go back, we're in June already. So if you go back to January when we started doing mass makes on Thursday and you take one item from every single Thursday, however many weeks that is, we're probably getting pretty close to 26 weeks, probably at 24, I would think now. No, maybe to even 23. But either way, hi, Julie, that's a lot of items from the mass makes. There's 23 items right there that you take one of and put it in there. Then go to the Saturday nights. And not all Saturday nights we make something. And sometimes we make something bigger, like a folio or whatever. But we did, on Mondays, we did a whole bunch of things with doilies and with one-sheet wonders. So there's probably another 20 things there. So easily with the stuff we've made just this year so far, you could have 40 or 50 items. Just take one of each one and put it in that book. And it will already look like Candy's does. So I'm going to encourage you to take this book, especially if it's the first one you've ever made. I wish I had kept the first one I made. I sold it, and I wish I had kept it. But use it as your idea book. Fill it up like that. Don't use your favorite paper inside of it. Save your favorite paper for a journal that you're going to use otherwise.
I would also recommend, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll make it out of notebook paper
Uh-huh.
because it's thin, right? And I have 15 million boxes of notebook paper when it's
Yep.
Yep. So I use it. Usually you can get it cut to the size you want. And then when I do it, I can write notes on that note paper.
That's true.
I don't really glue it the way it's supposed to be glued. I'll put, glue here or glue there.
Right.
And then it's really thinner and it doesn't bulk up your idea journal as much.
And the other thing is that every time you put something in, like we mass make something, and if it's got a bunch of folds, you're probably not likely to remember the entire series of folds if you look at it a year later or 2 years later.
You can write it down. And if there's a video to go with it, you can write down the date and who did
Yes.
the
See, I didn't even do that. That's a brilliant idea for Candy. I'm starting to do that. So you make this thing on a piece of notebook paper or scrap paper, whatever it is, write down the instructions. And then she writes, happy paper people, Monday Jumpstart, whatever the date is, or shabby dabby doo dah, whatever the date of the video that she learned that from.
Title of the video. That makes it easier.
Hold it up and tuck it inside there. So you'd always be able to go back and watch the video again if you wanted to, if you couldn't figure out your notes on how to make it.
Yeah.
But you guys can instantly have a full idea book if you'll go back and just pull one thing from everything that we've made. So, and we're going to continue to make. We're going to continue mass makes through the end of the year. And, the Mondays and Saturdays, all the stuff that we do, we're going to have some impromptu laugh and crafts. And most of those will just be hanging out and working on stuff instead of a specific tutorial. But all right, let's get started. I think everybody who is going to do it along with us is probably here because they wanted to be here when we started. All right, so you should have 2 pieces of 6x9 chipboard and 1 piece that's 2.5 by 9. And if you weren't here before, if you have, I have some old book board that I'm using up, but if you've got maybe the back sheet of a paper pad and you feel like it's just not quite thick enough, all you do is cut 2 of them, glue it together, and it makes it double thick. You might even glue 3 if it's thinner. That's great for cereal box, any kind of chipboard-ish type of stuff like that. Glue 2 or 3 or however many you need together to get the right height, and just trim them up to be even, and they're going to be covered. So, nobody ever knows that there's multiple layers there, and it works just fine. So the first thing that we are going to do, I'm going to move my pretty paper out of the way because we're not using the paper yet. The first thing that we're going to do is connect these things together. Now, I do want to say that there are many, many ways to make a book. There are many ways to do every single step of the book. So even the step that I show you, this can be done multiple other ways. So, but for those who have never made a book before, you have to have a place to start. And I want you to have made a hardback covered book with multiple signatures so that you can do it and those basic steps. And it's also that hidden binding in there, hidden spine is a really nice trick to have up your sleeve, even though there's multiple ways to bind a book, but you don't always want it to show on the outside. It's not always conducive to what you're doing anyway. So as we do these steps, I know there'll be a lot of you thinking, oh, I do it this way, or I do it that way, or I've seen this way or that way. Just know that there are lots of ways to do it. I do multiple ways depending on what I'm doing and what the purpose is for. So we want to connect these first in some way that they're not going to come apart, just as the base to give them some stability. So here are some of the ways we do that. We can use a bookbinding tape. I have 2 different thicknesses here. I use this a lot. It does not have to be. What we're doing is we're going to cover the spine and maybe an inch onto each one of the covers. So even this tape is not wide enough to do that. No problem. It doesn't even matter. I've used this one for a long time, and you just put 2 or 3 pieces. You connect one side, connect the other side, and then one in the middle that connects both of those together, and you'll see what I mean. So this is gaffer tape, bookbinding tape. Duct tape works very well, and it can all be covered, so it doesn't matter. But I have done books where I let the duct tape be the spine because it fit. It looked cool. The color was great. Color was perfect. I also often let the bookbinding tape be the spine. If you pick up a book and let's see here. Okay, so you pick up this book and there is, say, black. It kind of looks like fabric. It's covering the spine, and then it goes about an inch over here. So it's just around the spine and onto the front and the back of the book, and then you see the paper. That's bookbinding tape. It's not fabric, but it's bookbinding tape, which is kind of fabric-like. And it's not going to tear or wear off. It really is very fabric-like. So it is a great tape to use for that, either hidden or on the outside. Okay, today, let's see. You know what? Because I'm just thinking here. The video that I recorded was making this one, and I used Tyvek. So I'm just thinking, because I used Tyvek on that one, maybe I will use bookbinding tape on this one. So then you can see this, you can go watch the video, and you'll be able to see both the Tyvek and the bookbinding tape. How's that? But if you're using Tyvek today, it'll be the exact same process. So no worries at all. All right, so I'm going to use this wide one, which isn't going to cover the whole thing. First thing is I'm going to put this underneath it. So I'm going to open my tape. And if you are using Tyvek, then you want to cut a piece of Tyvek that is, or if you're using fabric, you could use a cotton or a linen fabric would work just as well. You want to cut a piece. Okay, you want it longer than 9 inches because you want it to be able to wrap around. And you may want it to wrap all the way around. So if you cut 9 plus 9 is 18. If you cut it 18 inches or even 18 inches would be good. You'll have a tiny bit of a gap, but it's all going to be covered. It won't matter. If you cut it 18 inches, then it will go all the way around. Now, my Tyvek isn't long enough to cut 18 inches. So I just make sure that it is longer, that I've got at least a half an inch, maybe even an inch on each side so I can wrap that around. And then I'll put another piece on the top. So make sure, if you do Tyvek, make sure that it is, say, at least 10 inches long. Okay, to be longer than your book. And depending on what width you have, if you happen to have plenty of width, then make it 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, about 4.5 inches wide. Nope, 5 inches. I'm sorry. We got to count for our 1/4 inch there. Make it 5 inches wide and about 10 or 10.5 inches long. If your Tyvek is not just, long. If you have the 18 inches, go for it. If you're going to use tape of any kind, bookbinding or duct tape, then this is what we're going to do. Okay, I'm pulling that out here, and I'm going to set it down. And what I'm going to do is make sure that both of these are on here. I'm going to go ahead and put the edge about center of my spine, because I'm going to have to do another one over here to hold the front cover. Now, I've got excess down here so that I can wrap it around like this. Okay, so I've got enough excess down there. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's close to center there. So I will just set that down, and I want to pull this taut to make sure that it's not getting weird wrinkles in it. And I'll just push my spine down. So now my spine is on the tape, and I've got all this excess down here to wrap around. I know you can't see all that on camera. It just is too long. Okay, so I've set it on the middle, from the middle out, and I've got this excess that I can wrap around. All right, so I'm going to leave it sitting here, and I'm going to bring the, this is the back. If this would be the inside of the book. This is on the outside of the book. If you just, and it doesn't matter at this point because these are equal, so it doesn't matter until we have paper on it. But I want to set this about 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch away from the spine, and then just press that down. You need to leave enough room that when this is a book and it's got paper on it and maybe even a couple layers, that there's enough room in there for it to fold. Got to have room to bend and not tear or crack or break, all those things.
Julie lost her brown tape. She found it, thankfully. And then Laura, somehow she lost her paper cutter yesterday and ended up on the floor. She's blaming the cats on that one.
I was just going to say, it's a cat. It's a gremlin cat. Okay, so now I'm going to take this piece from the bottom. I'm going to hold these down, and I'm going to bring it up and pull it taut. I don't want it to go up and bend, but I'm going to pull it taut and put it down coming up here. Okay, I'm going to press it down in the center between them, and I'm going to press it down on the chipboard on both the spine and the back cover. Make sense? So if you had a piece of, if you're using Tyvek, then you're going to take the piece of Tyvek. Let's say this is the Tyvek, and you're going to lay it down here, and you're going to put, I like to use score tape for this. I will use it on the paper, but because tape is already sticky, I don't have to do that. You can use score tape. You can use glue, something that has good adhesion. If you're using fabric, I would probably use Fabri-Tac. And even Tyvek, Fabri-Tac is great for. So you're going to make this, what we say, 5 inches wide. And if you don't have it 5 inches wide, do the same thing that I did here and put it halfway in the middle, put glue on that, and set these 2 pieces on top of that. The only thing when you do glue is you have to make sure that it's adhered enough that it's not going to move around, because there is wiggle room and time, for that with the glue. With the tape, there is not. It's planted immediately where you put it. Okay, so make sure that it doesn't shift. Okay, so now I'm going to unwrap this some more, unroll this some more, and I just want enough that I can come around this side. It doesn't even need to meet this one. I just want to come around and give it some more stability. So what's that? Probably 4 inches, 3.5 inches. Okay. So I will cut that. I already have sticky tape on these scissors, so I'll just use them. I hear KK. All right, so then I'm going to hold the chipboard down. I'm going to pull this taut, and pull it around, and put that down. And I'm wondering if I should do a second one at the same time that's Tyvek. Does the Tyvek make sense to people and anybody who's going to use Tyvek? I don't want to. Well, the video that I did, I used the Tyvek. So you definitely can watch that. I just don't want to leave you hanging if you're like, but I'm not using tape and now I don't get that. Hi, Leslie.
Leslie had a cat that she stole the thumb protectors of sew thumbs. Dozens of them under stuff.
Oh, that's hilarious. Aren't cats wonderful? Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with the front cover, which gives it stability. However, I'm going to turn this one over because I want to get
cats for everything. Lost socks, food, printer breaking, groceries not getting put away. That's a big one, Laura.
Oh my goodness, you have lazy cats there, Laura. Okay, I want to bring the next piece right up next to this one. And so I'm going to turn it over to put that down. In fact, I might even turn it to the side. So let me pull out enough to work with. And remember, I want to pull out some extra, maybe 4 inches extra that I can wrap around. Let's see. Okay. Wherever I can get this convenient to sit down. Got to pull out enough that it's not hanging up in the air and it'll come down. Okay, there we go. So now I'm just going to bring this right up next to the other one. Doesn't matter if there's a little bit of a space. I'm going to fold this over so it doesn't just stick to everything as I'm doing this. There we go. So I'll just get as close as I can without overlapping. And if there's a little space, it doesn't matter. But I don't want to overlap because then I have a bump. Okay, once I've got that on, now I can turn it upside down. And see, that's what I didn't want to happen. Stick together. There we go. So now it's like I had the first side. So burnish that down real good. And then bring this one over. And we're going to put that one about 1/4 inch. Doesn't have to be exact, but it does need, I have pretty thick chipboard because it's bookboard. And, you know, we're doing a pretty decent sized book here. So I want to make sure that there's plenty of room for that to fold in, not destroy the book. Okay, once that's down, I'm going to pick up this piece from the bottom just like I did before. Bring it up. And I'll go up the center first because there's a little divot there, and that helps it to lay flat going out from the center. And then burnish that down into the divot as well as on the sides. And then I will cut this 3-4 inches, just like the first side. And we'll put that to the side. Candy, did we put this tape on the affiliate list?
Yes, I already answered her.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. There was something else. Tyvek. I'm going to get Tyvek envelopes, put them on the affiliate list. I'm trying to find some that are less expensive. They are quite expensive.
They're expandable ones though. They're like
Yes.
the tiny expandable ones, not the big ones. And it was a box of 25 for like $28, I think.
You know what I'm trying to get is some that are big enough to put 12 by 12 paper in. So when we have singles like we did this week,
Those were way too expensive.
Yeah.
Way too expensive.
but so I can ship in those, and then you have the Tyvek envelope to use.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
why
Okay, so there we have a book cover ready to go, ready to be covered. So now when you look at it like this, you probably recognize this, huh? You've seen books that have this book tape. They use it a lot to repair books. So Sandy, did you use paper or fabric or Tyvek?
I use Tyvek.
Awesome. Okay. So now what I would do with the Tyvek, you've got it on the outside. I would cut a piece that is about 5 inches by maybe 8. Or let's see, I'm trying to look at, there you go. Yeah, to put on the inside. Just like I did on this one. You can see this piece right here.
Right.
My other one from the outside came and wrapped around just a bit. And then I just laid this one. So it just, let's see, you can see that line right there. Just so it overlapped the one that wrapped around, and then put this down. See, that's even a part where there was probably a sticky thing on it. Try to use the whole envelope. They are so expensive. And if you get Tyvek anything, if you know somebody in construction, if you know somebody in construction and you can get scrap Tyvek from them, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah, because they use Tyvek on building homes, on all buildings. But you'll see as you drive around, if you see new construction homes, you'll see Tyvek wrapped around it. And if you can find, if you know somebody in construction and you can get scrap Tyvek, that would be amazing.
They have the tape.
Okay. Oh, I have not gotten that, so I need to.
It is expensive. I will say that, but it
okay.
will last forever.
But it works, and you would use it just like this tape. Yeah.
Yes. Now the only problem with mine is, and I don't know if you can find some that mine has the big blue Tyvek on it, the word Tyvek on it.
Okay.
That will go through on some fabrics.
Right. Yeah.
And papers.
So then you have to cover it with a layer before you put the, yeah.
Yes.
So I usually, like, the primary reason I use
Home Depot, so
I use Tyvek on this one because it was a lighter paper. It was white based, and my Tyvek was white. The paper I'm going to use this for, or use on this one, is a darker paper. So the darker tape is fine. So yeah, but a lot of times that is.
You need to think about that before you decide what you're going to use.
And if you receive parcels in the mail that come in a Tyvek envelope, keep it. Keep the Tyvek envelope instead of throwing it away. Recycle it, cut it apart.
Yeah.
You may have red and white and blue stripes on it, but if it's going to be covered, and as long as the paper's opaque, then it won't matter.
Tyvek is really expensive.
It is. It is very expensive. Okay, so Sandy's got her inside piece of Tyvek on, her outside piece of Tyvek on, right? She's just burnishing it down. And we'll be good to go. Oh, got one more side to glue there. Now, I noticed that, Sandy, you put the Tyvek quite a ways into the book cover, right? About
Yes, ma'am.
half the book. Okay. You can do that. If you've got plenty, you could cover the entire book with that. You could, in fact, there's a thing called book cloth. Book cloth you can get in large sheets, and you can cover the entire book with that, which is amazing. And then that can be your base, the base of your book, and you just decorate on top of it. It's pretty expensive too, though. Hey, Sheila. Gotta say hello, hello. Okay, so I just want to get Sandy a chance to get hers down completely before we move on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take a drink.
All righty. Pause.
Nice. Good to go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is get our paper that is going to be our outside cover. Now we want to talk about this for a minute. I'm going to use this for my outside cover. So here's my outside. So we want to talk about this because you want to think about the spine. Unless you have really long paper or you're using book cloth, most paper that we have will not cover the whole thing. It's going to have to be cut, which is why you need two pieces. So you need to think about, do you want the spine to be the same paper as your front and back cover? So that goes all the way across. Or do you want the spine to be contrasting? Do you want the spine to be a solid color? Or do you want the spine to be the same as your inside paper? So I chose this for my outside cover. And then I chose this for my inside of the cover, inside of the book. So it would be like that. This will be on the inside of the book. So I can choose then to use this as part of my outside cover in covering the spine. If that makes sense. So if I cut this and do the front and back cover, then I can make a spine out of this, which matches the inside cover of the book. Or you could choose to put a piece of cloth over the spine. And it all depends on kind of the style and the look that you want. Okay, I think I'm going to use this as an idea book, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just use the paper that I'm using on the inside as my spine. So I can show you how to do that. But you might decide that you're going to put this on the front cover and this on the back cover, and then you're going to take a piece of cloth and put it over the spine to cover the spine completely. And that you've got an idea already for decorating it. So that is completely up to you. But we're going to go forward as Sandy. What do you know? Have you decided you've got your outside paper and
This is going to be my outside.
your outside? Okay. And what's your
then
inside?
This is going to be my inside.
Oh, that's a pretty.
So I think like what you were showing is if this is the outside, I'm going to have it like that. And then these are going to like that, the very outer edge and the very outer edge of the book. Yeah.
So let's see.
So this is what's going to be on the inside. So it's going to wrap around and come out to here.
No, the outside wraps around to the inside, but the inside doesn't wrap around to the outside. So on the outside, we want a fluid cover. So here's my front cover, and I want this to wrap around on all sides. And so it looks like it's just there and you don't see any edges. Then when I go to the inside, let me pull up the sample like this. Okay, so the outside paper wrapped around.
Okay.
All the way around.
Okay.
Now when I go to the inside, okay. Here's the paper that will be the inside for this. Now I will go to the inside and I will cut this and put it right up to there. So I'll have just like 1/8 of an inch all the way around on the inside. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
And so the outside is perfect and the inside is where you have the seam.
All right.
Okay. So just kind of the opposite of what you were looking at there. So
flip that over right there.
So if this is going to be my outside, then it's going to wrap around. It's going to wrap around. So I will leave this space that will wrap around. And then this will end up being my inside on top of it. So I'm just going to take a piece of this, my inside, and use that for my spine. Are you going to use this as an idea book?
Sure.
Or do you know? Okay. So, all right. Let's just follow along and do what I'm doing then. Let's do that. Your paper is perfect for that. Okay. So if this is going to be my outside cover and I want it to wrap around, then I need, and everybody's going to have a different opinion on this, but I'm going to leave plenty because if you have thick bookboard, if you want it in a little farther, if you for whatever reasons, I want you to be able to see this. I'm going to leave 1 inch on each side.
Oh, okay.
So if this is 9 inches tall, I need 1 inch here and I need 1 inch on the bottom, correct?
Yes.
So that means I need 11 inches tall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to take this paper then, and I'm going to cut it at 11 inches tall. Which direction? I guess that's right side up. Who knows? I'm going to cut it at 11 inches tall. I don't want that cutter. I want the good one. Okay, so 10, 11. Okay, there's 11 inches right there. Okay, and I'm going to keep that strip. Lots of things we can do with that later. Okay, and so now it's 11 inches tall.
Mm-hmm.
If I put it underneath here, I can see that I have 1 inch on the top and I have 1 inch on the bottom that I can wrap around.
Okay.
I also want 1 inch on this side.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want it to end right here, but I wouldn't mind, because I have a large piece of paper and I have plenty, I don't mind if it comes around to the center here, because that just gives it more stability. The more layers there are right there, the more stability there is in that spine. So it's 6 inches wide. So I know I need 1 inch out here, that's 7. And then if I want 1 inch out here, that's 8. I know 1/4 inch is going to be taken up right here, but that'll put it onto the spine. So if I go 8 inches wide, that will put it onto the spine just fine. So it's already 11 inches tall. And now I'm going to cut it 8 inches wide.
Doug said, Doug joined us. He said, "Happy birthday, Marianne."
Oh. Hi, honey.
Right out of the bag.
Uh-oh. Thanks a lot, honey. It's tomorrow. It's not today, so you can't sing. No, wait a minute. You can sing. I want to hear you sing.
No. Yeah, you should sing.
I changed my mind. I want to hear you sing. Hi, Dana.
Here you go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I'm listening.
Did you hear it? Happy birthday to you.
Hi, Amanda. Thanks, honey. You got Candy to sing. Woo, woo. That's pretty good accomplishment. I can't ever get her to sing.
I do mean lip sync.
Lip sync. Sandy sings, Candy lip syncs. Okay, so here's my piece of paper that is 11 inches tall, because I've got 1 inch on top and 1 inch on bottom, and it's 8 inches wide. So I've got an inch on the left, an inch on the right. So I'm going to put this, I need 2 of these. I need one for the front cover and one for the back cover. So I'm going to take my other piece and I'm going to cut it the same, 11 inches tall and 8 inches wide. Okay, so cut a second piece exactly the same. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, everybody. Oh, geez.
We did Glennis's earlier. Glennis is like what, the second, third?
Glennis is the third, yeah.
The third, yeah. Glennis is the third, Marianne's is the
Seventh. Glennis was heading out of town. She got to travel for her birthday. Doug took me to a really nice brunch on Saturday at a place we had never been. That was really cool. It was up the canyon, just barely up the canyon, so it wasn't a long drive. And it was an old trolley car that is the restaurant, and it's been there and been a restaurant for 92 years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And the food was good too. Really good. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside because I can use these pieces. In fact, I'm going to need them later.
Oh, and Marty said we did Doug's birthday earlier. That's what it was too. Yeah.
Yeah, Doug's was in May. We did. Yep, we did his when we did the happy birthday for Happy Paper People. Okay, so this is how this is going to look here. Let me get these pieces out of the way. And those can be out of the way. Okay, so when we get this attached, this is how it's going to look. I've got an inch on each side to fold in. I've got an extra inch in the center, but it's not going to be folded, and it doesn't matter that they don't meet. That's okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, the restaurant had mile-high biscuits.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. They were. And that's their thing. So they don't bring you out like bread or something. They bring you out mile-high biscuits. Warm, really warm with butter. They set the biscuits on top of the butter so then the butter's soft.
Oh, God.
Fresh raspberry jam at the table. Oh, man. Okay, so now we're going to set our cover aside for a minute and go to our 2 pieces of paper that are our front and back cover. And this is where I like to use score tape or red line tape. I don't know if this is going to run out, so I grabbed that as well. You can use glue. It doesn't matter. But I do like to, wait a minute, I did that backwards. We're not going to grab the paper. We're going to grab the book. All right. So you know how I'm always saying put the adhesive on the smaller of the 2 pieces you're putting together. Because if you put it on the smaller one, then you know exactly where to stop. If you put it on the larger one, you don't know where to stop. Okay. It's eventually going to end up with adhesive on all of it. But right now, I don't necessarily need it all the way out to that extra inch. I'll just end up getting myself stuck to everything. So I'm going to put the adhesive on the cover. So now if it makes any difference to you, now decide which is front, which is back, what's top, what's bottom. It shouldn't make any difference because it's really just all the same. Okay, so I'll start with the back cover here. And what I'm going to do is just I'm going to go right up to that divot there. I have to get this an angle where I can see. Right up to that divot and put score tape. I like to make a square around the perimeter with my score tape because if I put stripes down here, then there's lots of space along the edge that doesn't get it. So I start out with a perimeter square, and then I will go inside and do some straight up and down. I always put way more adhesive than is needed. If you're using a wet adhesive, a good trick is when you put it down to brush it on with your silicone, like squeeze it on and then take your silicone spatula or a brush and just spread it out so that it's flat, so you won't get those lines, bumps, that bump of a line in your paper, or especially in your fabric, that shows up. It kind of squishes out, but you still have that line. So if you've covered the whole thing, then you're not going to get that. Okay, so that's sufficient. So now I'm going to go to the back. I'm sorry, the front. That was the back. Doesn't make any difference. And right along that edge. Okay. So Sandy, you're using red line tape too. Okay, cool. I like score tape and red line tape. I've never, ever had a problem with either of them coming up. They adhere really, really well. There are other brands that work well too. And sometimes it may be the atmosphere, the temperature, the humidity, those kinds of things where you are, that some will work better than others. So I have some scrapbook.com that works quite well for me. Other people may not have had as good a luck with it, but these are pretty much the only three that I'll use. I prefer the score tape or the red line tape. There is score tape on the affiliate link list in the group, and it is on sale. It's like $57 for 15 rolls. I know that sounds like a ton, but if you want to make a bunch of books, hardback books, or you want to make albums, folios and albums, like the kind that Debbie made with passion to give away, score tape is great for those. You can use glue for those as well, but score tape is awesome. Okay, so now I've got my front and back ready for the paper, right? Sandy's right behind me. She's getting there. Okay, so my paper's going to go on. And I'm not going to put it on this way. I'm just kind of showing you. But I'm going to put it on upside down. I'll show you why. Paper looks upside down to me. I don't know why it does. But it does go that way. That's for sure. Okay, so once I've got these on, then I need to go back and take the paper off the back. Where did I just put? I thought I just had it. Maybe I didn't. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I find that the really fine, sharp points on these tweezers, or the sharp point of these scissors, do really well for me for picking these papers up. This one always ends up full of mixed media stuff, but so sometimes I have to pull the glue off the end, but it works really well. I just get it underneath the edge and pull these papers off. So anything sharp like that, sharp, pointy, is going to get in much easier, much easier than fingernails. And if you just kind of run it along the edge, and then I pull back, and then I go in it again to make sure that I haven't picked up the whole tape underneath it. And sometimes it does, like right there, it wants to pull up the whole tape. So I'll go at a different location so I can just get the paper. And then you often have to burnish the very edges down. I often have a little hooky thing like that because I just tear it with my fingers and it doesn't tear exactly straight. Okay. And if you've got a little hooky thing that's going over, just fold it back on itself because it's sticky on both sides. So, doesn't matter. Okay, so this is my back cover. I'm just going to use these the way that they are directioned with the writing. So that's my back cover. Let me first get rid of my papers. And I'm only going to do one cover at a time, or I'll end up stuck to everything.
Sorry.
For what?
I hit my...
Oh.
My camera was fine.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take the piece of paper that is for my back cover. I move the other one out of the way. put the paper right here. And now I'm not concerned about the inside where it is. All I want to do is make sure that I have that about an inch on the bottom, an inch on the right side, and an inch on the top. That's the only concern I have, because the inside is just how far it goes into the spine, which doesn't matter. I just want that inch. And if it's important to you to have this exact, you could take something and measure an inch, and just put a tiny little mark so you can set this right on that. I find that it really doesn't matter exact, because the edges are not going to show. The edges are going to be covered. So if I don't have to measure, I don't. All right, so the one, I've got it about the same top and bottom. And so the one I'll kind of look at then is the right side, and try to make these 2 points, the top and the bottom, about the same distance. And then that is the edge I'll set down first. And as I set that down, then I will slowly set down the whole cover. And now it's attached. Now I can flip it over and burnish that on. And because it's foiled, I'm not going to use a bone folder, because I don't want to scrape the foil off. I would normally grab the bone folder and just burnish that on. I will just do it with my fingers. Okay. All right. So there's the back cover, ready to rock and roll. So now we're going to go to the front cover. I know, your book is almost done. Now we'll go to the front cover and do the same thing. Pull the paper off of the tape. And you probably don't even need as much tape as I put on, but, you know, rather have too much than not enough. I kind of overdo it on adhesive, but I'm okay with that. So you do what makes you feel comfortable there. I also don't like bubbles in my paper, and I try to avoid that by how I set it down, but having the adhesive on the inside in here helps prevent the bubbles as well. So okay, let's get rid of these guys. Get that out of the way. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. Make sure that this is right side up. It is. Put it this way. And then I will bring the front cover over. Let me check and see if there's any little guys that need to be folded in. There's a couple of them. Okay. And now I'll bring the front cover over and do the exact same thing, where I'm looking at the top and bottom. Once they're about the same, then I'm just going to go to the left and line up the left about an inch, press that down, and then walk my way up to press the entire thing down, and then burnish this down good. And flip it over. There you go. Got a front and a back cover. Okay, so it is not glued down yet on the spine. It is only on the 2 covers. So you should have this, right? So now we want to glue that piece to the spine. So I'm going to turn it over. It's flexible, so let the spine bend one direction. And I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to put tape only where the book is, from here to here. In a minute. Okay, so I'm going to run some tape, and I'm going to get as close up to the book as I can, because this one, so the first one I do will be right up against the book, because that will put tape there for the edge as it wraps around. Okay, so that first one is right up against the book. And then the second one is going to be all the way out to the edge, to the very edge. I don't want the edge popping up because it has no adhesive. So all the way out to the edge. Now, there's a little space in between, totally fine. Probably if it's big enough that you can put another row of tape on it, go ahead and do it. Mine is not.
Shit.
What'd you do?
Shoot. Excuse me. Sorry, ladies.
What happened, Sandy?
I put it on here instead of.
Hang on. Okay.
I put it on the book, not down
Okay.
here.
That'll work. Okay. So what you put on the book is going to be that one that is closest to the book.
Uh-huh.
So now put one. Wait a minute. Hang on here. Let me flip this back. Okay. Put this one on out here that is the closest to the edge. Put that on the paper.
Okay.
Okay.
But I put the other one up. It's not on the paper down here. It's on the actual spine.
Yeah. No, it's totally fine.
Okay.
I'm going to show you how to compensate for that because.
Okie dokie.
Yep.
So edge to edge.
Just as wide as the book is.
Okay.
So I stopped at the two ends of the book.
Okay.
I stopped at the two ends of the book. Got one in really close to the book. She put it on top of the book. No worries. So put the other one out by the edge. Now, when you put that other one out by the edge, is there enough space in between that one and if you folded it over, the one that's on top of the book? Let's see, how much space do you have in there?
An inch.
Yeah, okay. You know what? All right.
This is only an 8.
Okay.
Is an 8-inch
Here's
wide.
what I would do for you. I would run a second one right next to this one that's all the way out to the edge. Run a second one right up next to it.
Okay.
Okay? You'll be just fine. You're fine. You're totally fine. You're totally fine, Sandy.
Yay. I mean, I'm not really, but thank you.
And guys, remember it's paper. There's always a fix. There's always, a way to make it right if you think you messed up.
Okay.
Julie, hi, Lucy. Julie and Lucy weren't here at the beginning when I said there are lots and lots of ways to do every single step of this book. And I'm only showing you one so that those who have never made a book have a basic way to make a book. And then you can start, changing things, trying different techniques, all of that along the way. So every step that I'm showing you, you might do it differently. You might know 5 ways to do it differently. There are lots of ways. So
Lucy wants to know why you put that paper on the spine if you're covering the spine with another paper.
why I put this paper on the spine?
If you're covering it with another paper.
I'm going to cover it with that. You don't have to. You don't have to. I'm doing it just because it gives it more stability and because I had large pieces of paper. I had plenty, and it gives it the stability. And it also takes it then all the way to the inside. But if you don't have, if you're cutting it close on paper, then you could take this and stop it right at the edge of the book board where you're going to that divot. Stop it right there. But because I had plenty of paper, the more stability, I just feel the more stability I give the spine, the longer the book is going to last, right?
Friends Writing has joined us.
Hey, oh my gosh. Ren's Writing. I see your face and I just forgot your name. I'm so sorry. You got to remind me.
Yeah.
There's always a garbage can, Margie says.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back here.
Karen Guthrie.
Karen. Oh, no, Karen. I thought you were somebody else because there's somebody else that, Karen, you changed your name. And I forgot that you had changed your name. There's somebody else that has, it's not Ren's then. It's somebody else's writing. And she is also a book writer. And we haven't seen her in a while. And now I can see her face. That's who I was thinking. Sorry, Karen. Now I see Karen's face.
Ninja Writers. No.
Yay, it's summer. All the teachers can join us.
Ninja Riders, is that who you're thinking of?
Who?
Ninja Riders?
Yes.
That's Sheila.
No.
Shanta, I'm sorry. Shanta.
Shanta. That's it. It's Shanta.
Start with S. Sheila, Shanta.
Yeah,
Shanta.
it's Shanta.
Shanta.
No, it's not Nana Sheila.
No.
Yeah. Shanta. That's it.
I just saw that. That's why.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so now we're going to go over here and take the paper off of these. And Sandy, just take the paper off the one on the book and take the paper off the ones on the paper. It doesn't even matter where it is because they're all going to go down the same time. Okay, so
You don't want to read what I write.
I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to rock it a little bit to start rolling that paper. To start bending that paper without just bending it and having it crack or break. And as we do the sides, I'm going to show you a trick to not bend, and most of you already know it anyway, but to not have it crack or break. But I'm going to bend it a little bit, and by putting the paper on the ground or on your desk and then bending the book to the paper, I feel like I can get a better, tighter, flatter seal there. So I just bent that all the way over, and then I will pick it up and seal that down. Okay, and when you lay it flat, now you've got some extra right there, and you should. That goes down in the divot. Run your finger down in the divot. You could use a bone folder, but I would do it very gently and just keep doing it, a time and time again, because if you do it really hard down in there, you're just going to cut your paper, even with a bone folder. Okay, so now that is burnished on really well. So now I'm going to come over and do the other side. And yeah, you could stop this paper. You could stop it right before that divot as you get to the edge of your book board right there. Rock and roll Bach binding. I like Bach binding, Margie. Let's bind some Bachs. Okay, so I'm going to go over to this one. The first one's going to go in on the paper as close as I can to the book. Because I do like to have that adhesive that goes around the edge. And then the second one's going to go all the way out to the edge of the paper. And there's really only room for two with this. This is a little bit more than 1/4 inch, but it's not 1/2 inch. So what is that? Probably 1, 2, 3, probably 3/8. It's probably a 3/8 inch. So it's a little bit, not quite 1/2 inch. That's why there's a little bit of gap down the middle there, but that gap is totally fine. Okay, so now we're going to take the paper off of this one and then roll the book this direction and get that one on. And then we're going to do our sides, top and bottom and sides.
Karen loves your paper that you're using for your cover.
Thank you, Karen. I'll show you what paper pad it's from. Finally using it. I've had it forever. I think it's right here. Yeah, it is. Oh, I'll show you in a minute because it's got my
keyboard is illiterate, she said.
She says what?
Her keyboard is illiterate.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, we already knew that, Margie. So, we give it grace. Okay, so now I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to hold it down here and I'm going to rock it a bit to slowly ease that paper into bending without cracking. Super thick paper is not always the best to use, like cardstock. Scrapbook paper or scrapbook paper is kind of almost in 3 weights. There's a really thin, there's kind of a medium, and then there's a heavier scrapbook paper, but it's not really a cardstock yet. Those you don't get that problem of the paper cracking as you will with cardstock. And some cardstock is better or worse than others. And I don't know if it has to do with the age of it, how long it sat around and dried out, or the brand, how they make it. I don't know. But I like to kind of act as if it's going to and try to prevent it up front. All right. Sandy, got a covered book?
I got a covered book.
Yay. Okay, so now turn it around. And now I've got it up right here. I can move these things to the side for a moment. All right, so now we want to miter the corners and fold our paper in and glue it down. So you might have a corner miterer. Where did the third one go? I'm pushing these around and I pushed it right away where I can't even see it. Oh, it's in my hand. It's in my hand. So if you don't have a corner, if you don't know what a corner miterer is, I'm going to show you several different things. This is a set of corner miterers. And this one's 2 millimeters thick. This one's 2.5, and this one's 3. I'm going to use the thickest one because my book board is pretty thick. And that adjusts for the thickness of the book board so that there's enough paper to wrap around the book board. If I was using a very thin, like a cereal box, one layer, I would use the 2.0. I'd use the very thinnest there. So I'm going to use this one, and all I'm going to do is take a pencil and mark like that. That tells me exactly where I'm going to cut to miter this corner. Okay. And I will do it on this one down here. I will do it on all 4. But I'm going to show, before I do the other 2, I want to show you, if you don't, first of all, this is a set that Candy has been working with someone to get these made for us. So we are working on getting this set available to happy paper people, this set of 3. So if anybody asks or is going to ask already, know that I can't tell you where to get it because it isn't available yet, but we're working on making it available to happy paper people at a good price. So hopefully coming soon on that. Some of you will have a corner miterer. I'm not sure where that one is. I have a metal one that I've had for years and years. It's just,
they run about $13 for one of them.
and yeah, they're quite expensive. That's why I only have one. And they work great, but they are quite expensive. You know, we're looking at getting a whole set for that price or less than we do just that one metal one. But maybe you don't have either one of those.
Yeah,
what do you do? How do you figure out how to do this corner? Okay, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can say from this point, let me add about 1/8 of an inch, make a dot at 1/8 of an inch right there, made that extra large so that you guys could see it. So it's not really a dot, it's a big old mark. And then take a ruler and lay it across and draw you a line so it's 1/8 of an inch out. Or here's a trick. Where's my chipboard? I think I learned this trick from Miss Debbie. Okay, this is the same thickness book board as this that I'm using. Okay, so if I take this same thickness book board and I stand it up here at the corner, actually, no, Debbie's probably screaming at me right now. I think you need, is it 1 or 2? You you can cut these. You can cut small strips of them, and for a thinner one like this one is 2 millimeters, you can just use one. For 2.5, you can glue 2 of them together. For 3.0, you can glue 3 of them together. So you make it thicker and thicker, and then you just have a little piece of chipboard that you've cut. And so then you stand it up on your edge there, right at the point, and then draw your mark. And that accounts for how thick your chipboard is, whether it's small, medium, or large, thick. So you could take little scraps of chipboard and just cut, like I take this and maybe cut this into 3 strips here. And that would make 3 good ones. That's about That should be plenty long for almost any corner. Does that make sense?
No.
So you can, okay. Do you have a piece of the chipboard that you used, that you're using as your book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it really thick, or is it medium, or is it pretty thin?
What, this?
Yeah.
It's
Pretty
like,
thick?
yeah.
Okay.
Like two gift boxes together.
Okay, perfect. So do you have a scrap of that?
I probably do, but not by me.
Not by you. Okay.
I'm gonna eyeball it.
So yeah, just eyeball that you're going to go out about 1/8 of an inch. And sometimes, like if I'm doing this on paper, I don't even make a mark. I just take the scissors and cut, knowing that you want to leave about 1/8 of an inch out here. So some people would rather just do that. But if you feel like every time you cut it, you mess it up because you go in too far or something, that there's, several different ways to do that.
She said they are snip and go girls.
yeah, snip and rip. I do like these miter corners though, because they're so super easy to use and so super fast. And then I don't have to worry. All right, I'm snipping and going. Did I get it right? I don't have to worry about that. It's right every time when I use them. So then you're going to take your scissors and just cut on that line. Okay, and there's your mitered corner. So you're going to miter all 4. And you might want to save these. They're usually big enough corners to be able to use in making some decorations or ephemera, or even putting on the corner of a page.
Or you can put them, once you fold it, you can put them back on the corners to hide the seam.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so we'll hold them aside and show you what Candy was talking about. All right, so Sandy, you got them cut?
Got them cut.
Awesome. All right, so now we need
Am I
some
yelling?
adhesive on these. Again, I'm going to put the adhesive on the paper, not the book, because I don't know how far over to put it on the book. I would be eyeballing it. If I put it on the paper, I know exactly where to put it. So I'm going to do like before, and I'm going to put the first one in as close to the book as I can get. Nice and tight in there, close to the book. And then, oops, I just hit the end of the roll. Darn it. I'm feeling paper instead of sticky on the other side. And this one's quite a bit thicker, so I'm gonna use it anyway. All right. So I'm gonna go in as close as I can to the book. This one doesn't tear so well, so this one I need to cut. And then the second one I'm going to do out at the very edge of the paper. There'll be a little gap between them, which is fine because you've got both sides covered. Okay, I need to cut this off. It was at the wrong angle, so I just went all the way up. Okay. And then I'm going to go all the way around the book and do the same thing on every one of these flaps. That always cuts the wrong direction, so I'm going to see if I can do it backwards for me just to use that angle. There we go. The first one in close to the book. And the second one this may not make sense. I'm going back and forth. When I have a straight cut, I'm going to go to a straight side where it starts. When I have an angled cut, I'll go to one that has an angle to start. It just keeps me from having to make as many cuts on my tape and not wasting little bitty pieces of tape. Okay, so that one cut at an angle. So I've got an angle start here. So I'm going to go back up to this one. use that angle start. I didn't get that up at the edge. And this tape is a little wider. This is definitely 1/2-inch tape, so it's overlapping just a teeny tiny bit, which is totally fine. It'll still come off. The plastic top will still come off.
Julie says, don't forget to burnish your tape.
Yep.
And Margie said, get out of her head.
It's just easier to go back and burnish it all at the same time than not forgetting any single strip. Okay, so now I've got an angle. So I'm gonna go over here. What's happening, Sandy?
Oh, I just ran out of tape too. You had to start it, didn't you?
Yeah, where to go? I know.
Damn it.
You know, people think that buying 15 rolls of tape sounds like a lot, but if you are making a bunch of books, it's not. You'll go through it.
I gotta find another roll.
Candy's off on the hunt or Sandy's off on the hunt for another roll.
Yeah, I don't use tape.
I'm right here. I found thicker. Ooh, that's better.
I do for these book covers. I don't always. I sometimes use glue, but I think for demonstration purposes, it's easier to show people because I can hold, out a little bit.
I bought some of that scrapbook tape from scrapbooking.com.
Oh, right.
They have that wide roll. It's like, what, 2-3 inches?
Yep.
Oh my God, that's so super sticky. It's funny. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like
I have one that's 5 from them. That's 5 inches and one that's 6 inches wide.
yeah.
So
They
you can
do
literally put a strip down here and then lay your paper on it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did buy that, but I'll tell you what, that stuff is super thicker than
Yep.
super brand.
But I thought, probably not a good idea to use that because most people won't have it and then they aren't getting how to do it with regular tape or glue.
Okay. Or I didn't like your take care and subscribe. What in the world was that? Laura has to stay home. It's all the time she has for today. She says, have fun.
Hi, Laura. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.
Sure,
All right, so this last one is not good.
Hit the thumbs up and subscribe, ladies.
Appreciate that. Show Candy and Sandy that you appreciate them being here with the thumbs up. I appreciate them. I know you guys do too. So summer's awesome when our teachers have time to join us.
Sheila's a glue girl, a lot cheaper. Yeah, me too, Sheila. And it's a little bit more forgiving sometimes too.
Yeah.
It's quicker for me. I take forever with that tape. It takes me forever.
And the other thing is if you do want to use the tape, but you want on this kind of thing, you really don't need time to move it around. But say you're putting a piece of paper down on the cover and you want it to be the exact same distance around. So there's a little border around it. You can on your tape here, just put a tiny bead of like art glitter glue or any glue actually, just a little bead of it on top of the tape. That gives you just a little bit of time to move it around. It makes it slippery, move around before this tape adheres.
Yeah, I think it uses both.
Probably 90% of the time I use glue on most everything. I do like using tape on, I don't know. I guess I go in, it's however I feel today.
Yeah.
I guess that's the honest.
She revels in the mess of glue. The bigger the mess with crafting,
The cooler the project. The bigger the mess, the cooler the project. So, all right, where did my little tiny tweezers go? All right, who can see my tweezers? There they are, off to the side there.
you know, say they're there.
I know they're there. They're right there. All right. Sheila got behind and having to go find some more glue, so I'm going to take a drink.
I think you meant Sandy got behind.
I said Sheila, didn't I? I'm so sorry.
You did. I'm like, who the hell is she
I was
talking
waiting
about?
for Sandy to say something, but
I was thinking maybe she had something special in her drink and she's losing her mind.
well, she lost her mind ages ago.
This is true. That is truth. Oh, that's hilarious. That's Sheila's like, excuse me? Well, you know, it's
I
like,
was like, Sheila.
as soon as you go on here, it's like, you know, calling your kids by your cat's name and, you know, your husband by your kids' names, and you lose all brain. Lose all brain.
I had to stop and say, wait, no, it's Sandy. It's Sandy.
Sorry, Sandy. Sheila's amazing too, so that wasn't an insult to you.
Sandy, that's like me. We have the dog that we rescued. They called her Sandy because
yeah,
they, you know, guys, they don't, you know, and they'd been calling her Sandy for a few days before I got there to rescue her. And I was like, I don't like
really, guys? Sandy Candy?
It's too close to my name. I said, Ronnie, we got to change it. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, dude, because it sounds too much like you're going to be yelling at the dog, and I'm going to think you're yelling at me.
So you say, you know what? Just get used to me never answering because I think you're yelling at the dog.
I'll be yelling, Sandy, I'm like, what? I didn't do nothing. He goes, I'm yelling at the dog, Candy. I said, see, I told you we should have changed her name.
Yep. Sylvia, you're right. That's why I keep books. I write everything down.
Yeah, I hope you're okay.
For that very purpose. Okay, Sandy, we are going to turn the book and we are going to start with a long side. One of the long sides.
All right.
And we're
I
going
hope you didn't hurt yourself bad. I think it's maybe just she said she fell between a spot between her bed and the camp and her closet and the camper and thought she didn't hurt herself, but it's getting worse as the day goes on. And it can be just your muscle. You might pull them out. Hopefully it's nothing big.
Yeah, it's easy to strain a muscle doing that.
Take care.
Oh man, so sorry. Okay, so now we're going to go take the top off of our tape on one side.
Okay.
We'll get rid of that.
Did you burnish it?
I did.
Now, I was doing that and didn't say that because we were all talking and laughing, but I was doing it with my fingers. But you could take a bone folder and go back and burnish your tape on, and then we're also going to burnish it once you turn it over too. So it's going to get burnished then. If you forgot to do it right here, don't worry. When you fold it over and burnish it down, it will be burnished on. So no worries. The other thing is I was going to show you the trick to keeping your paper from cracking, and I do that before I put the tape on, and I totally forgot. So if I think this paper has a chance of cracking, which it doesn't seem to be doing, I will take a little spritz bottle, and I will just spritz a tiny bit of water on the paper like that, and all the way around the outside edge. And then while it's just, just that tiny bit damp, I'll come back like this and just fold the paper so it's already having the memory of being folded and it's ready to go. And you can do that all the way around if you think the paper might crack or break as you do that.
And you said you do that before you put the tape down?
I typically do it before I put the tape down. My tape's already down and I just did it, so it's fine. But I do that and then it dries really quickly and then I put the tape down. But as long as just if you feel you need to do that, do it now. Here, like this, just not very much, just enough that it's just barely damp. And then go to each side and just kind of turn it down like this because it's very flexible. It gets really flexible when it's just that little bit of damp. And then as it dries, it gets kind of memory ingrained of, it's like muscle memory, it's paper memory of that fold.
Okay.
Okay, and then when you fold it, it won't
Rip.
Won't crack or tear so much. This one I've already taken the top off, so I want to be really careful there. All right, so then this is the side that I took the top off the tape already, ready to go. So I'm going to put that down, and like we did before, I'm going to kind of rock the book to make sure that I didn't, especially if you didn't spray it. I'm going to rock the book so I don't tear the paper.
You are one hot mama, Margie, so you might want to spritz yourself.
Are you being unflexible, inflexible, unflexible? Are you being unflexible, Margie? Why don't you just spritz yourself? Okay, I'm going to rock that a little bit. And so it's going over the edge. And because I've got the tape right up to the edge, it is now stuck to the edge, which is perfect because it is now at a 90-degree angle from the book because it's stuck to the edge. Then I'll bring it down here and the rest of it I'll do from this angle. I'm going to put my thumbs down and I'm going to pull it as tight as I can, center first, and then work my way out. And then work my way out the other side as well. And just those 2 rows of tape are plenty to hold that down.
Look at that.
Sandy?
Isn't that
Family
pretty?
channel. Family channel.
I said shh, shh. I didn't say the whole word.
Family channel. This is Sandy's first time. We'll give her some allowance
Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna stay
before
out.
we put her in the corner for timeout.
I need more than water to get my joints to bend. WD-40 with some silicone.
Tylenol. I like it, Sheila. That's our new thing. Go spritz yourself. That's actually better than, I like it. I like it a lot, Sheila. That was good.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's go to the opposite side and do the other. While you've done that, let's do a second one right away of the same thing. So the long end, you can do one cover and then go do the other cover. But whenever possible, if it's the first time you're doing something, I like to have you repeat it, because by repeating it, it starts to get muscle memory ingrained in your brain. So normally I would just do the other sides of that cover and have one cover, then move to the other. But let's get some muscle memory going here. We've done the long side. So again, we're going to come up here and roll it a bit, and we'll get it stuck to the side of the book. And then we'll come back over here and we'll pull it as tight as possible. Put it down in the center, work our way out. So we're going out and up at the same time. So we're still stretching it as tight as possible while moving out towards the outside edge. All right, Karen, this is the paper pack that this came from. It's a DCWV and it's gilded gray. Half of the sheets have gold foil on them, half of them don't. And they all coordinate. It's kind of cream and gray and gold. It's pretty. That's where I took this one. Oh, I like that one. It's there. Yeah, that one's pretty too. Okay. All right. So we got both of those. Sandy, I almost called you Sheila again. Oh my goodness. What is it? Candy, Sandy, Sandy, Candy, Candy, Sandy. Okay. So now let's go to one of the bottoms, either one. I just put it back facing me the right way of the book. See, this writing is helpful for someone like me because I know it's straight up.
That's going to be covered too.
Okay, so let's go to the bottom right and let's remove those two, and let's not throw our bone folder in the trash. We do need that.
Trash.
I throw way too many things in the trash.
It's my trash up underneath the shelf.
Digging them out.
Yeah. I've been looking for a trash can with a lid on it, but then that gets to be a pain.
And to take it off, yeah. Well, right under my desk is the most convenient place because I'm constantly sticking stuff in there, but it's also the most inconvenient place for things falling in it.
Because it goes in there. I've lost a couple pair of scissors in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you take those two off, here's what I want you to notice. When you pulled this paper, when you folded this side, long side over here, there's a little bit down here past the corner. That needs to fold with it. You want that to fold with it. So this one's easier to see because the red is still on. I want all of that to fold right there. Okay, and I'm going to put my fingernail down just a bit to kind of crease that down there. I'll do the
Okay.
same over here. And when I do that, then when I pick this one up and fold it over, that corner, because I folded it down first.
Oh, shoot.
Good girl,
Or
Sandy.
she says Bavarian clock knitter when she gets upset.
Bavarian clock knitter. That's good.
Shut the front door.
Okay, so by folding that down first, then
you don't end up with this.
you don't end up with things sticking out. Did you get one of those little hooky things in the corner?
Yeah.
All right, we can fix it. We can fix it. That's why this is your first book. I say don't use your absolute best paper. And, you see why things do or what they do when you do certain ways, and you learn the techniques. And so, what?
It's called a metal book corner.
Oh, yeah. That is one of the fixes. Yeah. That is absolutely one of the fixes.
Or some decorative ones. It don't matter.
Yeah. Oh, this guy does not want to separate here. He wants to pull the tape up with him. Come on. There we go. All right. So I'm going to go to the opposite side of the same book cover. For me, that's the back that I did first.
Sheila tells her students to say ice cream cone or peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Believe it or not, they begin to realize how much they curse by doing that, and they start decreasing the speech.
Wow.
Son.
Sheila, that's smart. Isn't it fourth grade you teach, Sheila? It's surprising that they curse that much.
Middle school earlier.
Say that again?
I think she said middle school earlier, didn't she?
Oh, middle school. Okay, I could be wrong. I could be thinking someone else. Okay, so when you come up here, Sandy, just make sure that this corner is folded over and it goes past. It goes past the end. And so I have a point where this comes down to the point is past the end of my book. So I'm going to stick that down there with my fingernail. And then when I fold it up, it makes a perfect square. And leave the one that you think is messed up. We'll come back to it and we'll fix it. Okay.
Oh, I already cut it off.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Well,
she does 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So yeah.
6, 7, 8. Oh, gee. Yeah, they probably do curse a lot, huh? Trying to impress all the girls. And
Aaron said you'd be amazed at how much even elementary school kids use swear words.
Really?
Yeah.
Blows my mind. I didn't curse in elementary school. I didn't even curse in high school. I was a goody two shoes.
Yeah.
You did? You weren't even in the Navy yet.
No.
Yeah. I was.
My dad was a sailor, though.
Okay.
I was with my grandparents. I was really good until I went in the service, but then and I worked with maintenance. So
there you get a square. There you get a square corner. Now, if you've got a thing that's hanging out, then you can take your scissors and just clip it off. And I try not to clip it so far that you're going to see the book board underneath it. But then take just a little bit of glue and put it under it and even over it. Press it down and kind of mold it in.
Okay.
And that glue will seal it all in. Now, another thing that you can do, that I just knocked on the floor.
imagine that.
I know. Surprise! What Candy said, there's some from the other day there too. What Candy said, you can keep these corners that we mitered off. And you can bring a corner back and put it right here, glue it down, and that covers if this bugs you.
Mess it up if it doesn't lay straight for you.
If it lays straight, I don't bother to do that.
I don't either.
But if it's funky and I had to cut it, now this is not straight, or I've got things sticking out and it's all weird.
Or I fold it crooked and I got a sneeze in there.
Then just glue that corner back on. Right there.
My God, that's brilliant.
And you cover all that.
Because especially if you're using thinner paper, because sometimes it'll wrinkle, and if you go to fix it, it tears it. So I've learned to let it go, get it out the best I can, and then I stave those corners, and then because usually in the corners where I end up having a little.
Another thing is, when you're all done, if you take your bone folder and set it on the corner. You go back to each corner after you're all done, and then just give it a little press. You flatten those out, and they really do flatten instead of sticking up. If you get, have that little hump, that little bump. Okay. And if there's a little part of the paper that's up, I just take a little glue on my finger. I run it along the seam and kind of just work it over the top even, because it seals it. And then remember, we're going to have paper over this that's going to go all except about 1/8 of an inch. So if you need to seal it with glue on the top, it's not a big deal. Not going to be seen. Okay, so there's our back.
Sheila says her mom had a great backhand. Yeah, so did mine. And many so she could learn to control her mouth. Lucy said her parents never cursed, so she never did until she was a teenager, and never in front of my parents. Yeah, and see, I was raised mostly by my grandparents, so no, I did not curse. But when you're younger and you hit high school, and you avoided them, but then I went in the service and I worked with the maintenance guys.
There was no avoiding it then.
And then you're talking to your grandmother on the phone, and like shit or hell will
just accidentally come out.
Because you avoid the bigger stuff, but
Sure.
You're like, whoop, whoop.
Somehow, I'll bet your grandma was not totally surprised because she knew you were in the Navy.
But it's just like the first couple times you do it, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's my grandma.
And that's when my mom would say, Sandra Ann.
Yeah.
Now, if you look right here, that's funny. I've got tape that goes out a little farther than the book does. Okay, I want to cut that off. Otherwise, when I fold it, it's just going to be out here on the paper, and then it's going to attract dust and whatever else is going to stick to it. You could fold it over, but I don't want the bulk right there. So I'm going to cut that off, and I'm going to push this little corner down in here. So it's sticking to itself, and even if it's not.
Margie was a gas jockey, so she picked it up.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't, they make fun of you. They make fun of me.
Well, yeah, you goody two-shoes.
Okay, so you got to imagine, I'm 5'2". Okay, on a good day, stretch with heels. Anyway, but you're 5'2". Now, when I came in the service back then, your chairs didn't have the lever on it to lower and raise it, right?
Nope.
You had to turn it upside down and screw it. And we had with a display writer, where we did all the shared it. So they put the chair like midway so that it would work for most people, but it did not work for me.
Right.
Too tall. Floor. So I'd be tight with my feet, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have small feet. So I wear a size 5 in ladies. So when I was in basic training, they didn't have boots to fit me. They had to be special made.
Oh my gosh.
When they made my combat boots, most combat boots have a toe on them that has a seam, for its toe part. Mine did not. They were smooth. So right away, they look at them, they see those boots, and they'd be like, what kind of boots? I thought your feet are small. You can't fit
That's because they required 2 pieces of leather to make the bigger ones.
Yeah.
And they got it all in with 1 piece with yours.
So they kind of look like baby shoes, that are smooth on the toe. That didn't have a seam across them. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they were very different. Yeah.
Okay, so as I pressed this one around, I pulled it so tight. Actually, it's because it was on foil. The foil was on the very corner, and so it split. That paper split. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue there. Where's my art glitter glue? I'm just going to stick a little glue in there, and
well, if you heard the middle name, you better run. Isn't that?
Yeah.
When my full name was said in Spanish, it was on.
Oh, that's hilarious. I don't have a middle name.
Oh, my mother would have made one up. Anyway, Lucy said the first time she said the other word, she was in her 40s in front of her mom. But she was so angry, no one said a word. Yep.
That's funny. So if I want to cover this corner, then those metal book corners, and I might do those just because this one's going to go in and out, back and forth on the shelf because I'm going to use it as an idea book.
Yeah.
So it's going to get some wear. So for that reason, it might be worth putting metal book corners on to protect to protect those corners. There's a little piece of foil off right there. Okay, so I've got one more to do up here. Oops.
She already made like several for her daughter. Her middle name. Middle name.
Middle name?
Middle names. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my mom has 5 names. She has, let's see. She has 3 middle names. 3 middle names.
Yep.
And her first name and then her married last name.
Yeah, same here.
That's funny.
Well, you had to pick your confirmation name.
And maybe that's why she didn't give me a middle name.
And then you have your oh, what's the other one?
Did you get a baptism name or I don't know.
Yeah, because mine was Sandra Ann Mary Marie Munson.
Oh,
And now Wrath.
Oh, Sandra Ann Mary Marie Munson Rath.
Yep.
Whew. That's a mouthful.
Most people just call me skinny bitch. Pardon my French
Hey.
again. Sorry.
Family show. Family show. My goodness, ladies.
I was wondering why you asked me to go live with you.
I tell my friends that their kids can watch to learn some book art.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hilarious.
My mother was so creative. She gave me her middle name like I wasn't worth my own. My mother did the same thing. My middle name was hers the same way. And it's spelled like a guy, L-E-E. It's not, like L-E-I.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's L-E. Yeah. Well, maybe she gave you hers not because you weren't worth your own, but because she thought you were so valuable that you deserved hers too. So she felt closer to you.
She played me after my sister's baby doll. I'm lucky my middle name wasn't Candy.
That's
Baby
funny.
doll's name was Candy Cane.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yes. We're going to call you Candy Cane.
Oh my God. I was like, you
I'm
did.
going to call you Candy Cane. Candy Cane. But it'll be Kandikane. Candy Cane.
Yeah.
All right. Sandy, you got that down?
I do.
And they're all good?
Well,
She also gave me up in a couple of years ago. Sorry to hear that.
Awesome.
Oh, maybe better stepmother.
That Margie, that tells you that it was her issue, not yours.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so now let's look at doing.
Oh my words, yeah, Sylvia.
What?
Look at her name. I got my Sylvia Alicanter Lerma Solis Hernandez Delgado.
All the generations. Sylvia Alcantar Lema Solis Hernandez Delgado.
That's
Nice, Sylvia. And then she gets married and adds Pelican to that. Oh. Now, what would be really cool is if they made a really cool acronym. SALSH SALSHD. SALSHD. SALSHDP. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is the spine, because that is going to wrap around too, and we want that to wrap around before we put our inside cover on, right? So I'm going to use the same. Now, you know what? If I had some gray book tape, I would probably use a gray book tape. That would be really cool. Just putting a wide swath of gray book tape over that. That would look really.
She was so totally in trouble when the Spanish was thrown down.
Yeah, that's for sure. If they usually speak in English,
I think that'd be pretty.
say that again.
Gold book tape.
Oh, I don't know that I've ever seen gold book tape. I'm gonna have to look for that now. That would be really pretty.
Or even that light pink. Is that pink?
It's kind of a creamy pink.
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
Well, it is. It's kind of a peachy pink, creamy. Yeah, that would be pretty too. I'm trying to think if I even gold foil paper. I've got a heavy cardstock that's gold foil, but that's too thick, too heavy. So for now, I'm going to use the same thing that I'm going to use on the inside cover.
Here, you got about 15 minutes left.
Okay, so we have just enough time to do this. All right, so we know that our book is 9 inches tall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we want, just like these, we want it to go an inch above, an inch below, so it can wrap around. So we need this piece to be 11 inches tall. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my trimmer and make it 11 inches tall. 11.
Lucy said you can paint a piece of cloth, gold or silver for the spine.
That's true. That is true. That would work. I can always cover it later with a gold piece of cloth. I do that too. That would be cool. Okay, I don't know why I put that away. I'm going to need it again. Okay, so now it's 11 inches high that way. And now how wide do I want it?
I don't know.
Here's how we decide. We know, I don't know, how wide do you want it? So if I go over here, then I know that the our book board is 2.5 inches wide. I've got 1/4 of an inch on each side for the fold. So that's another 1/2 inch. Okay, so 2.5, we're now to 3 inches. And then how far do I want it to go onto the cover? So I want it to cover the spine and then go around and come up here, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I want it to be enough that it looks like it's purposeful. You could go as far as an inch.
The spine itself.
You could just do the spine itself.
You don't even have to go all the way around.
You could do, yes, either way. You can, so it depends on
what look you're going for.
Yeah, I was trying to grab one. You know, the books that have like the book tape that goes around.
I know, but I'm just saying you've already wrapped your book.
You could. So here's a choice. You could take the book board only. Don't cover the folds. So the book board is 2.5 inches, and you can make it 2.5 inches and just put it down there, and then leave. Maybe that's what I'll do, because then if I do, look, it's
that one's really pretty. That's really pretty paper. I would not cover it.
But then if I do something gold over it, I can decide if I want to go around the edge with the gold.
Yeah.
Okay. So your choice, Sandy, is do you want to just do 2.5 inches and have it go just down the spine? Or do you want to wrap it around? So it wraps around a little bit on each side, which kind of gives it a border. So then, okay, if you want to wrap it around, you're going to take 2.5 inches for your spine. You're going to take another 1/2 inch, so 1/4 inch for each of these divots for folding. So there's 3 inches. And then how far do you want it to wrap around? Do you want an inch on each side?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was 3,
5 inches.
4, 5. Yep. So 5 inches wide. We already made it 11 inches high.
Yeah.
So now you need 5 inches wide, and I'm going to go 2.5. I do like the idea of the gold. I think I'm going to end up doing that down the road. I just got to decide how to put that gold on. So I'm going to do it at 2.5. Okay. All right, so then we're going to do the same thing on this. I'm going to quickly put it down so we can do the inside of our book cover. And I'm going to make a, let's see here. I would go ahead on yours and put tape all the way top to bottom. Don't do it just where the book is. I would do the whole thing. When we peel it off, we're going to set the book on that piece, and then you'll already have, whoops, didn't mean to bump the camera. We'll set it on like this, and then your top and your bottom inch will already be exposed, ready to just peel around.
Margie, that's a hole to hang it on a hook.
Oh, yeah.
Has to be a big hook, though, because it's
kind of a heavy.
No, but it's so far in, like a little cup holder won't work. It has to be one of those bigger.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why it has to be bigger.
It's thick.
Yeah.
I think I need to get a hook on the side of my desk for it.
Yeah.
'Cause I have not yet found a good place that is convenient. I was standing it on end right underneath my desk by the trash can.
Do that 2-level thing like I did. I love it.
Yeah, I love that too. It's a great. I might.
And my cutter fits in between the 2 tables.
That's brilliant. Do you have a guillotine cutter? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I got those little ones. I have
a big Carl
on the bottom because they hang. I put holes in them to hang them on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm wondering if my regular guillotine cutter would fit in between. But how many inches do you have in between? 4 or 6? 2.
Well, it's about 3, I think. Hold on.
Okay. I don't think my guillotine handle would fit.
They're just under. They're just over 5.5. That was the shortest poles we could find that were cast iron because I wanted the cast iron level.
Oh yeah, yep.
They're cast iron.
Okay, so I now have my tape on there. I'm going to go ahead and pull my paper off the tape. And I just did mine 2.5 inches. Sandy's doing hers 5. So you'll be able to see both. So I like the idea of getting something gold on there. I might even have some gold fabric. All right. Now this, I need to be straight. I need it to go right. It's 2.5 inches, and that's exactly what the spine is without those, without the 2 fold divots on the side. So I need for it to be exact on the spine, which means I'd really prefer that it be bent. Okay, so it's coming off camera because I have to bend it and lean it against me a little bit. There we go. So sorry you can't see that. As soon as I get it placed, I will bring it back up here.
Well, poo.
Oh, okay, so I'm setting it right there. I'm gonna like, what happens, Andy?
Oh, I ran out of another roll of tape.
Partial rolls. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
Maria,
Maria
came in. She didn't get notified that you guys were going to send out the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, Maria. Glad you're here. You'll have to go back and watch it. And then remember, ladies, that I did record this as a tutorial. It's 1 hour and 12 minutes long instead of 2 hours. And that's the one where I made this book. This is Stamperia Botanical Gardens or something like that.
Said you should have said Bavarian clock knitter.
Bavarian clock knitter, Sandy. Bavarian clock knitter.
Oh, that's what I have to say.
Really.
I'm not gonna remember that, and I might say something really inappropriate.
That sounds kind of sort of close.
Sort of.
Hello.
Oh man. Okay, so we're gonna fold this up. Okay, we're running out of time, so we're gonna move quickly here if we're gonna get the paper on. And fold that one down. Okay, so now the spine is on. Sandy has to either find more glue or more.
I found more tape.
More glue or more tape.
I'm peeling.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here to try to get these on. Now, when you come to the inside, from one end to the other is, what is that? 12 inches plus the 2.5 in the middle, 3 if you count the 2 foldy things. And we know that we're going to be about 1/8 inch on each side, but we're still looking at like 15 inches. If you happen to have a piece of 15-inch paper, that's amazing because that would be great. You could do 1 sheet that goes over the whole thing. I don't typically have that. So I will cut 2, and this one is not going to wrap around. This one is going to go right inside about 1/8 inch or however much you want of this to show. Sometimes I like a little more to show than others, like the gold is pretty cool. But it can go about like that all the way around. So if that's probably closer to 1/4 of an inch. But I'm going to plan 1/8 of an inch. That means the two of them together is 1/4 of an inch. So if this book height is 9 inches, and I want 1/4 of an inch, so I have 1/8 of an inch on each edge, top and bottom. That means I want to cut it 8 3/4 of an inch high, right? So I want this to be 8 3/4 inch high. And well, let me figure out the width and we'll do that all at once. 8 3/4 high. And then the width. And a lot of people, there's a lot of ways to do this. Again, there's many different ways to do this. I like for this to go all the way in here on the spine. I don't want it to end right here. And then I see this right here. And when I put the hidden spine on, this still shows. And yes, you can cover it with something. And I may still cover it with something as I'm decorating. But I like for it to go all the way in, just so. I don't want to see. There's no need to see that. I want it to look cohesive. So I'm going to take the 6 inches that this is wide, plus the 1/4 inch here. That's 6 1/4. And then into about the middle of this is 2.5 inches wide. So about 1 1/4 inches. So 6 plus 1 1/4 inches is 7 1/4. Plus this little 1/4 here is 7 1/2. So and you could, if it's easier, just take your ruler out and lay your ruler right there and say, how far is it from there to there? From the edge to here is 7 1/2 inches. Okay. And then I need to allow about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge here. So you can go, I want that to be 7. What did I say? 7 1/2, 6, 7 1/4, 7 1/2 minus 1/8. I don't want to confuse anybody. If it's easier that way, just say, let's see, is that the 8? The 6? Oh, I haven't cut it yet. Okay. I need it to be 7 1/2 minus 1/8. So that is 7 3/8. I know those 8s sometimes confuse people. So just go to 7 1/2 and then pull it back 1/8 of an inch to give you that little bit of space. And that's how wide we want it to be. So I'm going to hang on to that. And then the height, we said it was 9 inches and I need 1/4 of an inch on each side. So we want 8 3/4 inches tall. So 8 3/4. And if you're going to make a book that's exact same size as the dimensions I've given you, you can write this down and then you don't need to figure it. That inside piece of paper is going to be 8 3/4 by, and I'm going to need 2 of those because there's a front and a back. So I need to grab my second piece of paper. 8 3/4 by 7 3/8. Okay, 8 3/4 by 7 3/8. So I'm going to start here. 8 3/4 by 7 3/8. All right. Yep, that does sound right. Okay.
No poo-poo.
8 3/4 by 7 3/8. And now I've got 2 pieces that will make the inside. That's funny. I cut them going opposite directions. You can't really tell. I can tell by the grain of the paper, but it won't matter because they won't be seen together. Okay, then I can look at it and go, how much of that do I want to show? Do I need to trim this up just a little bit? I don't really need these to overlap. So if I do that, they do overlap just a little bit. They don't need to. This is going to be covered in here. So I'm going to trim one of them down.
Yeah, this is not pretty at all.
Uh-oh. What's happening?
Oh, nothing.
Where you at?
I'm screwing up the spine.
Did you get the outside piece on?
Yeah. So it looks real pretty from the outside, except for this corner here. But
okay, that does look pretty.
that looks horrible.
The inside?
It was thicker. It was thicker paper.
You'll probably end up covering most of that up anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be covered
All the way down here.
And if it's not, we'll fix it.
Down here.
Not, we'll fix it. Don't worry.
Once you put your hidden spine in there, you probably won't even notice that.
Right.
Well, you will.
Just leave it because we'll fix it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay, get your inside of the book paper. That's going to be used for here, and cut 2 pieces of that at 8 3/4 by 7 3/8. Now, one of those is going to need to be trimmed down a little bit. I can tell, but what I'm going to do is put one on first, and then I'll trim only one to meet that one. So I'm just going to turn this over and slap some tape on it. Oh, I'm about to run out of tape. Neither of mine were full rolls either. They were both partial. I want to get right up to the edge of this so that it's adhered at the edge. I'm looking around to see if I have any more of that whole pack that I got from Amazon real close by without having to get up and go to the closet to get some. All right, so these 2 pieces are 8 3/4 by 7 3/8. 8 3/4 by 7 3/8. So now I'm putting tape all the way around the perimeter. And then I will put some in the center.
My time.
Straight up? Okay.
301. No, 301.
All right. We are just about.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, Sandy. You're fine.
Marianne's a talker.
Hey, I'm trying not to rush her. Trying to talk and take my time because I'm trying not to rush her. It's her first time, and it's horrible being rushed her first time.
Yeah, did you notice when I did it, I hardly ever talk? Yeah, I just...
Okay, so if I don't talk and you don't talk, then what?
Marianne's a talker. So
Oh, you can't host a show and not talk. Then everybody goes, like they said on Saturday. They're like,
Julie says, my decision making makes me run behind. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's why I said ahead of time, choose what paper you want. Here, cut these to the right size. Choose what paper you want for your outside cover. Choose what paper you want for your inside cover. So you don't have to make those decisions right here.
Yeah, and then I changed my mind. So yeah.
As long as you know what you're changing your mind to immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that works out well for me all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed Saturday they're like, you guys need to talk. It's awfully quiet.
I suck at it, ladies.
No. It's just it's a whole nother you know, you're the walking, the chewing gum, the rubbing your belly and tapping your head, patting your head, and now add talking into it, having conversation and making it sound cohesive.
And I think upside down, crooked.
Yeah. Well, the thing about talking while we're doing it is that it kind of takes you out of the zone of doing it. And that's why I always end up messing up when we're doing it here, is because I'm talking to you guys and it takes me out of my flow. If I do the tutorial, there's nobody talking and I just flow right through it. So it is different.
It's very
different. And if you want to experience it, just send me a PM. We'll get you on here. Try it out.
Yeah, come on, ladies.
We do have a lot of fun. Poor Sandy. Actually, Sandy's doing great. I'm very impressed. You're doing great, Sandy. Okay, so I'm going to
Thank you.
line this up, and I'm going to try just to make it about the same on the top as the bottom, about that 1/8 of an inch. And here's where, if you're not totally sure about that, you could put just a little bit of glue on the tape to give you just a little bit of wiggle room to put it down before it adheres. But, you know, why do it the easy way?
We never do anything the easy way.
Exactly. My point exactly. All right. So there's my inside cover. Now I need to take my finger and go down here in the crease a little bit. Make sure that that's all. If you have a bone folder or something that's not pointy, you could do that a bit. Let's see if I've got some tape. I have some more right here. I don't. I'm going to put this back on, and then we'll close it up. And
Margie's got another earworm for you from what I think Fat Domino or something. I'm a talking. Yes, indeed, and I'm a walking.
yeah, I like that song.
I'm a hopping or something.
Yep. Sandy,
Yo.
can you see on your screen where it says private message, where you would click over
chat.
private chat? Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, Candy, can you type something in there about after for Sandy so we can debrief? Okay.
Oh, I didn't know I was getting graded.
That's
That's a big,
I'll let you know.
big fat F.
She says she's game for anything. She's not shy.
Who?
Sheila.
Nice. Sheila, would love to have you on. Well, yeah, we'll pick something fun to make. Have Sheila on. All you need is a way to hold your camera above your phone. That'll work too, above your desk.
So I guess I need to cut this out.
Candy, did that make sense to you about after?
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, just take you a minute. What are you talking about? Okay.
All righty.
Once it's in there, let Sandy know so she can check it. All right. So let's see. How many of these do I need? Not too. Oh, shoot. I was going to trim this one up. I was going to trim it because I know it's too wide.
All
That's
right.
okay. I still can. Okay, so Sandy, you can take a look at private chat now. I can still trim this up. I'm just going to be trimming off a little bit of the tape with it.
Okay.
I have no idea what she wrote.
Julie
Yeah.
said she's going to put Hessian around her spine. That's pretty cool.
Put what around your spine?
Hessian.
Oh, what is that?
Is that like rope or something? Hessian rope?
Oh.
There's a Hessian fabric too in there.
Like hemp fabric?
Or cloth. Yeah, there's a cloth
cloth
fabric.
or-
Hessian, yeah.
Okay, so
It's kind of like burlap. If you ask me, it's just thinner. It's not as. I don't think it's as coarse. I think it's more. It's
yeah. That only just needs the tiniest bit. The tiniest bit.
Yeah, it's like burlap. It's a little bit softer.
I'm going to do that.
Flexible, I think.
Okay, that'll be cool. That'll be cool, Julie. All right, I'm going to do this and just try to take the tiniest bit off. And I did this with the tape on top specifically. So when my cutter goes down, it goes through the paper that's on top of the tape and then into paper. If I did it the other way, it could separate the tape from the paper and then get sticky all over the.
I took your tape, Julie. I took it.
So that's why I did it in that direction. Let's see if that is a better fit. I'll back it up to this one.
Lucy, no, the paper inside won't be covered unless she puts pocket in there. But the only paper that would be covered would be the spine when she puts the hidden spine in.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why I don't worry about backing these two up to each other and having a seam right there. And I don't want them overlapping because I don't want that bulk in there. But if I put a pocket on the inside of one of these, it will just cover up some of this paper. It's fine. I'm just concerned about the bulk on the spine when I'm adding that hidden spine.
Where did my little dog go? Margie's throwing me some tape. Hand up. It's coming.
Here it comes. Ow! Hit you in the nose. I think Margie did that on purpose. Okay, I'm going to back this up to the other one. I want it to meet on the top and the bottom. And that seemed to be right in there. And then I will just go out from there. The polka dots don't match up. Doesn't matter because that's going to be covered. That's going to be covered with the hidden spine. So this I do want to burnish down really well. That's not the one I wanted. There's the other one. I have to use the flat side of it. Okay, and there we have. Now, I'm just going to fold this a bit.
Nobody's going to see this.
Your first book, it's going to be your idea book.
It's not going anywhere.
Okay, and there is our journal cover. Ready for the next step. All right, so those of you who are doing next week we will put our signatures together. We're going to do 3 signatures because we're going to leave plenty of room for lots and lots of stuff in it from all our mass makes. So have 3 bundles of paper ready to go, and each bundle of paper should have 10 pieces of paper in it. They can be plain white copy paper, they can be coffee dyed paper, they can be scrapbook paper, and I'm not going to use this for that because that doesn't even go. That might be with the other one. Yeah, that can go with the other one. That's what that was for anyway. Music paper or book page, something that you've sprayed. I'm not doing a huge variety in here. I don't want to use some of my very best paper because this is going to be an idea book. So I don't want to use my best paper on that. So have 3 bundles of paper that each have 10 pieces in it, and they can be identical. So 3 signatures, each having the same 10 pieces is good to go. And then we will work on the signatures next week. And you will need, let's see, you will need your...
Okay. Pretty, Sandy.
It is pretty. I like the green with the pink as the frame. Yeah, that's really pretty. Okay, so I told you to cut a second one of these 2.5 by 9. And now now that we've done the cover and in preparation for the signatures, I didn't want it to be confusing, take this 2.5 by 9 one and cut it down to 8.5. All you're doing is cutting a 1/2 inch off the end. Okay, make that 2.5 by 9, 2.5 by 8.5.
Oops,
that's
sorry.
what we want. So we don't want that to go all the way up to the top. That'll be the same height as the signatures, so that won't even show. Same height as the signatures. Okay, so you'll need that, and then we'll need some of this scrap paper that we had here from cutting off of the inside. So that we're going to put it over this and we're going to cover it. So when it is on here, it looks like it's just part of the inside book paper. Okay, so we want to keep these scraps and bring that to go with that. And then you will need an awl or a crocodile to punch holes in here will work just fine. You will need something to bind with. and a needle. A great big giant needle, doesn't even need to be sharp, is great. Something that your string can go through. Dental floss works. Embroidery floss works. If you have waxed thread, bookbinding thread, there's so many things that will work for that. So you don't need anything super special. And let's see, what else? That's pretty much it for that. And then I think we made really good time today. And we'll do those signatures. They're not going to take that long. And then we'll mount that in here, and then we'll start decorating.
Woohoo!
Yeah, Sandy, you're getting lots of compliments. That is a beautiful journal.
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much.
You guys, please give a thumbs up for Sandy. It's her first time ever doing this live.
Great job, Sandy.
And she did a really great job and made a beautiful journal. The paper's lovely. I love the little sparkle on the pink.
Julie, yes. On a hidden spine, you were going to be sewing the signatures onto that little piece, and then you're going to glue that piece into the spine.
Yep, that's the hidden spine, Julie. We're going to sew them into, as Candy said, we're going to sew them on this. That's what the hidden spine is, and then we glue that onto here. So when you look at the book, you don't see binding anywhere. That spine, that binding is all hidden. Okay, so that's the type of book that we're doing here. Lots of different ways to do it. That's just one. But it's a nice, easy, and good one to use on almost all kinds of journals. So it's a really good one to start with. Then you can start learning fancy binding techniques if you want to.
So I thought this was fancy.
It looks fancy. Your paper looks fancy. Yeah. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much for joining us. You did a great job. I was so glad you were here.
Thank you.
Like the hidden spine, no strings on the outside. Yeah. Congratulations, Sandy. They said you did a great job. Awesome.
Thank you, ladies.
Yes. And for Sandy for being her first time here. Sandy will be back with us next week to do the next step. We're going to make a complete book. Those of you who are going to do it, please try to do it this week, just this portion at least, so that you have exactly done what we've got done. And again, there's a tutorial that is now live on YouTube that shows how to do the cover. I stopped before doing the inside paper and the spine paper. I will go record that as well. Didn't know how far we were going to get today. And so I'll record that as well. So that'll be a part 2. And then part 3 will be doing the signatures and getting those in and attached. So for some reason, I thought you were doing the hollow hidden binding. It makes more sense now. Okay. And there is so many different ways to make books. And everybody, once you start doing them, you find that there's certain little techniques that you like, and you kind of get your own little ways. So we're just doing one, and we can do more in the future. But the next thing we're going to do after this in June is we're going to make a folio, a straight line folio with Debbie. So I'm very excited about that too. It's going to be beautiful. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the group. Please be sure to put photos of the book covers that you do so that we know somebody's done it along with us and is ready for next week. Sandy and I will put photos of ours in there and be ready to go. And then we will see you Thursday for sure at the Mass Make, and have a wonderful Monday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.